Parliamentary session of dubious history is about to end a day in advance. 146 MPs have been suspended throughout this winter session, which was to have ended tomorrow, but it ends today, one day short. Om Birla, the Lok Sabha Speaker, has said that productivity in this winter session of Parliament stands at 74% amidst mass opposition MP suspension. 18 bills have been passed in the Lok Sabha in this session. I want to go straight across to India Today's Polami Saha for more. Polami, the Parliament ending one day in advance. It's been adjourned sine die. Do we know why this has happened? Why one day short, so we can understand that?
Well, basically, as far as the government's listed legislative agenda was concerned, they've completed that legislative agenda in terms of all the crucial bills that they wanted to introduce and then those that they wanted passed in this session of Parliament. So usually Fridays are allotted for private members' bills and such discussions. Other than any legislative agenda, there was no such, agenda per se. So many MPs, obviously those who were still, in Parliament, in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha attending, said that, they would like to, of course, go back to their constituencies so that, they can hit the ground running as far as the Lok Sabha elections are concerned. And everyone's been talking about how they need to return to their constituencies and start work for Lok Sabha 2024. So because the legislative agenda was virtually completed as far as this winter session of Parliament was concerned, the government, of course, went ahead and decided to adjourn the Lok Sabha, sine die, and after, of course, the vote on the 3 criminal law amendment bills in the Rajya Sabha, after the Home Minister's reply, the Rajya Sabha will be adjourned sine die as well.
Okay, sine die as well, and we're going to wait for any updates on that front. Polami, continue to stay with me. We've got those figures of 74% productivity in the Lok Sabha during this winter session, which is a very, very low number. Let's take a look now at some of the other data. The number of members of Parliament left in the upper house and the Lok Sabha after the biggest ever purge of members of Parliament from both houses. Remember, a total of 146 MPs have been suspended in this winter session so far. Well, since it's been adjourned sine die, that's going to be the final number, 146. Mass suspensions in the Rajya Sabha, a total of 245 MPs in the Rajya Sabha. NDA, 109 MPs, opposition, 95 MPs, others are 41 MPs. 46 of the opposition MPs have been suspended. So it's down by a factor of 50%. 95 opposition MPs, 46 have been suspended. Now let's look at the mass suspensions in the Lok Sabha. Total number of MPs is 543, even though that number is actually 522 following many resignations due to the state elections. The NDA has 353 MPs, that includes the BJP. The opposition, including the Congress, has 133, others are 57. The number of suspended opposition MPs, out of 133, 100 MPs have been suspended. That makes a total of 146 MPs, 100 in the Lok Sabha, 46 in the Rajya Sabha, who've been suspended. Here's a total figure of how many MPs have been suspended from both the houses. Like I said, 146 and counting, 100 in the Lok Sabha, 46 in the Rajya Sabha, for alleged unruly behavior in the lower and the upper house. The Lok Sabha MPs, 100 MPs, opposition MPs have been suspended, 46 have been suspended in the Rajya Sabha. Now we've got some more breaking news coming in. Okay, this is an exclusive news break. First on India Today from our sources. After the end of the Lok Sabha session, Prime Minister Modi met Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and opposition floor leaders in the Speaker's office just moments ago. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi of the BJP and Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs were also present during this meeting. The Prime Minister said that after the breach in security of Parliament on December the 13th, whatever necessary steps and security measures should be taken. So a meeting has taken place. Opposition leaders, the Prime Minister and the Lok Sabha Speaker have just met in Parliament. Polami, the Parliament has come to an end in this session. The Prime Minister meeting with Om Birla and the opposition floor leaders. Anything you're picking up from what may have happened in that conversation?
Well, Shiv, this is customary at the end of every session of Parliament. The Prime Minister, as the leader of the House, and of course the Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi, as well as the Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs, meet with the Lok Sabha Speaker. Floor leaders from the other opposition parties are also present. It's a customary tea that they have, and basically there's very little conversation that happens because it's just a customary ritual. During that time, we do believe that the Prime Minister may have said a few words in terms of assuring those in that meeting for that high tea that indeed the government is very serious and sensitive to what happened in Parliament on December 13 and is taking all measures in order to ensure that security is beefed up in Parliament and nobody feels insecure inside these very premises. Remember, he's been saying this constantly, that this is a very serious issue. It shouldn't be politicized. It shouldn't come down to any sort of political tutu meme. And at the end of the day, they have to realize that this concerns every parliamentarian from whichever hue or color they are inside the premises, and for everyone who is working inside these premises. And that needs to be the topic of conversation as to how do we ensure that everyone's safe and secure and nothing else.
Poulomi, thanks very much for that. Well, Parliament has come to an end, but the stalemate has not ended at all. 3 more opposition MPs, like I said, suspended, taking that record-breaking figure of suspended MPs from 143 yesterday to 146 today. This is politics at boiling point just weeks before the 2024 election cycle. While the India Alliance has hit the streets in protests right through the day today, the BJP has been staging its own protests over the mimicry by Trinamool MP Kalyan Banerjee. It's protest versus protest across the country. Take a look.
जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में है वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में वो ना कहें.
A session in Parliament. With opposition benches almost deserted, the Lok Sabha approved a bill aimed at regulating the appointment of top officials in the Election Commission. (146) suspended MLAs from the opposition taking to the streets to protest their expulsion from Parliament, marking the remainder of a frozen winter session. Brandishing placards, the opposition leaders accused the Modi government of undermining democracy.
सरकार ये नहीं चाहती, मोदी जी ये नहीं चाहते, और सदन के मुखिया है वो भी नहीं चाहते कि सदन चले.
The India Alliance organized a march around the new Parliament building in New Delhi.
He is giving a speech and 125-30 people are watching it and they are shouting slogans. This is really, this shows that they don't have faith in democracy. They don't want discussion, debate.
The suspended MPs, of them 100 from the Lok Sabha and 46 from the Rajya Sabha, were alleged to have disrupted proceedings while demanding a debate on last week's security breach in Parliament. The opposition coalition has planned another protest on Friday at Delhi's Jantar Mantar.
For last 75 years, if you pick up placards and protest, when have you had 141 suspensions? This is a disgrace it's an insult to Indian democracy, the world's largest. It's a murder of democracy.
In response, the BJP staged its own protest over suspended TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee's mimicry of the Rajya Sabha chair.
उनके अलायंस के कई घटक दलों ने जो उपराष्ट्रपति महोदय का जो एक किसान का बेटा है, ये किसानों का भी अपमान है, उनके समाज का भी अपमान है, संवैधानिक पदों पे बैठे हुए व्यक्तियों का अपमान है, और इसका खामियाजा राहुल गांधी को और कांग्रेस को और अलायंस को भुगतना पड़ेगा.
This bitter political standoff has rendered the country's parliament without an opposition presence during the ongoing session. Legislating without the usual discussions and deliberations.
जो सदस्य
Bureau Report, India Today.
मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ।